So I was taking a nap one day, and I just grabbed Reader's Digest from like 1975, and I was reading an article. I fell asleep like mid-sentence. And I woke up like 20 minutes later, and the magazine was still there.
Right.
So I continued to read, and the sentence completed, but suddenly nothing made sense at all. So I backed up and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't even right, this is a different article. So after that nap I thought, oh, what if I like chopped up Reader's Digest and mid-sentence switched to another article? The challenge, of course, is to make the sentence make grammatical sense.
Right.
But it's not going to make any fucking sense because each one of these is coming from a different article. So that's what we're doing. We're reading my mashup Reader's Digest Mad Libs.
Oh, this sounds great.
Okay.
An Electric Nightmare from the June 1973 edition of Reader's Digest. I awoke that Saturday morning of August 28, 1971, knowing that something was wrong.
The visitor suddenly reached up under her skirt, unsnapped a couple of buckles, and removed her right leg. Then she reached up a second time and removed her left leg.
As the first shockwaves that swept over the country began to subside, there arose some angry
Lacerations of the face. Her cheek was laid open to reveal a bloodied jaw and missing teeth. Her eyes had
a spinal injury, and a spine board was brought from one of the ambulances. His limp
Period was to be tragically short, but it was a time of great activity, a final flowering of creative energy.
My earliest memory of him is waiting for him to come home from work when he was still finishing his apprenticeship as a machinist at the
Earth's interior, somewhere between 10 million and 2 million years ago. The loose placer gold was captive in the same tight loads until
I joined foreign correspondent Xian on a mission to China and another to Russia. I lost myself in
shrimp cocktail, beef stroganoff, and blueberry cobbler. Another night, chicken and noodles. We carry a mixture of candy, nuts, and
man's other needs. And we must take the first steps, whatever our government and Congress judge them to be, toward cooperative international development of the
British Empire. It said in part, quote, "I am down on horse, and I shan't quit ripping them until I do get buckled." End quote. It was signed, Jack the Ripper.
It is not uncommon for the musicians to be manifestly high or tripping, their way of achieving that far-out degree of freedom in
Prison's maximum security section. As they made their way onto the prison roof, two cars drew up outside the jail. The prisoners used a fire hose to reach the ground, then
headed for the pool. I think I'll go see what's in the paper today.
I am Joe's right femur, or thigh bone. I will speak for the other bones, because I am the largest, longest, and strongest. Strong enough, in fact, to bear the weight
of a Penn Central freight train, which was clearly visible and which sounded an audible signal within 1,000 feet as it approached.
the bus. Marge Krupinski put his call on hold for 20 minutes while she ran through the offices and corridors searching for someone who
could give them back their true names. By 8:45, there was a continuous caravan of surgical carts bringing
Christians, Muslims, and Jews, but for quite different religious and historical reasons. Here, all are drawn by exactly the same reason.
couldn't they be embedded in strips of cellophane or plastic, or some material that would disintegrate in the earth when planted? You can buy
protection to pay medical bills, not covered by Medicare, and avoid loss. More about that later. For men and women under 65.
The judge asks, has your marriage broken down irretrievably? If the petitioners say it has, the judge probes no further, and the
Rockefeller University, a pioneer in the use of methadone, argues that physicians should relieve, not increase, the suffering of the heroin addict. Most drug users apparently
believe the world's power center is destined to move from the Middle East to the Arctic.
He also believes that the existing institutions can be brought up to the needs of the times, but he feels that
The poor and the total failure of the police nearly brought down the government. The Queen, in a rage, sent
Citizens volunteering to help. I'm a grandmother, said one, and an experienced babysitter. Perhaps I could help some family that has...
Buoyant and exotic garments studded with mirrors. These are calculated to be outrageous. Once stage closed, they have been taken up by ordinary
Plant-eating species. And scurrying out from under their thundering feet were furry little creatures, the first mammals who would survive
until withdrawal symptoms ended. Others were put in government-run hospitals, constructed specifically for
sex. 80% of these by 16. Yet many of them are ignorant of or indifferent to birth control. Most teenagers Sorensen questioned said,
The way I'll always remember Ralph best is through the GM hearings. Sitting in the back of the room, his head hunched over a pad, scribbling away at questions for the
mind. Together with the pulsing, driving beat, it creates passionate excitement and almost sexual tension.
may appear for no known reason. Doctors can only give transfusions and bone marrow transplants, and pray that we bones will somehow
need to see clearly just how extraordinary our achievement has been in ending the Indochina War in an orderly and equitable way.
early next morning, he and his crew began working more of the greenish-gray clay away from the bone, using shovels, ice picks, and a
moment to peer over the hill and touch the radiant faces. Crazy kids? Says who? Oh, God.
I joined Forest
period was to be tragically short.
oh my god, these are so funny. I cannot get over them.
Oh, they love stroganoff. Shrimp cocktail, beef stroganoff, and a blueberry cobbler.
I like the bit about Christians, Muslims and Jews wondering why they couldn't be embedded in strips of sandstone.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
I am Joe's right femur.
Sex! For sex! Oh my god.
Crazy
Oh my
kids.
god. Says who? Oh, the ending lines.
Meow, meow, meow.